Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies and welcome to Top Brass. So in this edition of Top Brass, we will talk about the recent skirmish which is happening at the border of India and China as countries, and we had casualties, and now China is shyingly and sheepishly saying that hey, they also had the casualties. So as far as the Indian army is concerned, we have counted 43 stretchers, so 43 dead bodies. Even the Americans have said there are 43 dead bodies on the Chinese side. And on the Indian side, we know we have been very democratic, and we cannot hide in India things like this. So we have lost 20 soldiers in this skirmish, and we have lost all these soldiers without firing a single bullet, because both sides, in fact I am not saying that Chinese fired a bullet, but Chinese broke the agreement that India and China had for not using any arms at the border. But they have used baseball with iron nails, stick used with barbed wires. So they came prepared with these kind of weapons, and they attacked the Indian soldiers, and consequently this whole brawl erupted between Indian and army. And I think as per the news which is in the media, almost like the brigade size force fought with these primitive Neanderthal type weapons. So let us try to understand what is going on, and what is the stand of China, and what is the stand of India in little bit more detail. So as you know friends, before we get into the geography of or the geopolitical status between India and China, let us understand where these two countries stand today. The India is the world largest democracy, and I will not talk about it what is democracy and all that. India is well recognized world largest democracy with very high population, almost equal to Chinese population of 1.3 to 1.4 billion people. On the other hand, China is a communist country which does not have any democracy. The right of choosing is not with the people or the citizens of that country, it's with the political party. So literally the political party in that huge country makes the decisions, and then they have a draconian kind of a rule where the power is highly centralized. So soon after the independence was awarded to both these countries, which is India and China, the India started building their country by coming out with different plans to eradicate poverty, to adopt modernization, to choose what they have to do. And the Chinese, on the other hand, were right from 1950s were on the mission of grabbing land of other countries. So a lot of things happened, even though our political class was very friendly with China. In fact, the Indian political class sacrificed their permanent position in United Nations, and they said that it will be wrong on our part if China is not part of United Nations. So we will let go. We will show a larger heart and let go the seat. And our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, proposed the name of China, and that's how China became the part of United Nations as a permanent member, and they today have the veto power. So India as a country is not there. However, China invaded India, there were border disputes, um, but before they invaded India, they first invaded Tibet, and they completely annexed Tibet, and Tibet is has a government which is running from a small place in India, and they call the Tibet government in exile, whereas the country of Tibet, which is primarily comprised of the Buddhist monks who were peaceful, and they didn't have the army like the Chinese army or the PLA army, so they had nowhere to go, so they ran off and they came to India. So when the independence was awarded to China and India, the Chinese border did not connect with Indian border as much. I mean, there were few places where it connected, because primarily it was all Tibet in the north of India, which does not exist today. So Tibet as a country has been invaded by China, and they said this is our land and it belongs to us, and so on. But there is a very strategic reason for it. Tibet being a plateau, it was very easy for the Chinese people or the army or soldiers to come all the way to India, because even without building roads, you can drive vehicles on the plateau, which is made of very hard rock and there's hardly any soil on it. So you could travel all the way to Indian border, and then they start demanding Indian territories as part of the Chinese empire. So they didn't have to build a huge infrastructure to invade India. All they had to do is take over Tibet, and that's it. They could roll their trucks, they could roll their tanks, they could build their supply chains up to the border of India. So the battle happened. India lost miserably. Chinese acquired a lot of areas of India, and till date today we lay claim on those territories which have been acquired by China in 1962 war. However, all these regions which have been acquired by China in 1962 are very strategic in nature, but difficult for anybody to live there. So their position or claim on those regions are only strategic in nature, and they go back from their post from these highlands in winters, because there is a cost of putting soldiers so high in the mountains. So they actually also return back to their post, which is in the Tibet area, and those highlands are vulnerable during winters, but no one can actually visit those places because it's so high and they are so cold. Now, in month of November, Indian Parliament declared the area as part of India, which was acquired by China in 1962, and that is where, because it was winters, so it was very predictable that China will do something in summers. So now summers, they have invaded into our region, and now we are actually holding them back. Not even a single inch of Indian territory has been given to China. We are holding them, and we are matching their might equal to equal. So that is where we are, and the skirmish happened a few days back, so I think we all know about it. But the reality of the situation is that the China is doing this at the right time, because United States will be busy in their elections. They have their own issues, and so they are not going to come and join this whatever is happening between India and China. At the same time, none of the countries want war. So China, being a communist ruled country which is ruled by few people, um, the the messaging which China wants to give is basically at the right time. They know that they can do whatever during this time, because America is going through the election, and the world is tackling Corona. So nobody has time to fight all these border disputes so high up in the mountain. So they are actually not doing they are not doing any battle or anything. They are just sending a message. Now, on the other hand, even if somebody has to go on war, the war plan has to be planned in such a way that there is a clear objective. So Chinese have a clear objective, and they also have a war plan, and so is India. So India has a very clear objective, and they are also having a war plan. So the war plan is not something that, hey, I pick up my gun and go into battle, kill few Chinese, and that's it, I have got the victory. The war plan is always made keeping an objective in mind, and if the objective is not met, that means you have lost the war itself. That is when the battles are lost, when the wars are lost, is because of these issues. So I think that both countries have their war plan laid out, and they are working on plan. So it's not that somebody has to go and show bravado, because it's not going to yield anything without an objective in mind. So the China has a war machinery which is at work. They have a clear objective in mind, that is, they are sending a message to different parties, different countries. They got major differences with India with regard to business, because all the business is now ready to come out of China and get into countries like India, Malaysia, Vietnam, etc., and probably United States as well. So having made that point, when I say war plan, The war plan is also has propaganda machinery as the uh, the propaganda machinery as part of the plan itself. And China being a communist party ruled country, right from last 100 years we have seen that the communism comes with a huge amount of propaganda. So there is already a built-in mechanism to do propaganda as what is happening right now. They're holding ground, Indians are holding ground, not even an inch of land is exchanged between them. And there is a propaganda which is going on. The propaganda is that we are the big boys in this region. If you want something, come and talk to us and not to India. Second, they are sending a message, very aggressive message, just like they have done in the South China Sea. They are also raking up issues with Taiwan. They are also raking up issues with Hong Kong. They are having a border dispute with Vietnam, and so on and so forth. So I think they are actually heating up all these issues because they know that um, it's a message they are trying to send, and they don't want to change the geopolitics which is prevailing right now, and they don't want India to become important in the scheme of things. So this whole invasion sorts of on India is part of propaganda. That is what I wanted to bring to you today. And let's come to the situation uh, at Galwan Valley. This is where the standoff between India and China is unfolding. So this is a valley which is on the east of a state in India called Ladakh. And as you can see, these are all pictures which are freely available, uh, taken by the private satellites. And then you can see that you can make out who's sitting where. So you can make out the Indians have this equipment, so many soldiers. In fact, the images are so clear you can actually count the structures which are there in this valley area. And on the Chinese side, same thing. They have heavy earth moving machines, they have heavy machinery, they have a lot of soldiers, ambulances, and all that. So there, all this is an open. And as you can see in these pictures which I downloaded from the net, there is no water in this river. So that means somebody has diverted the water. So it must be Chinese or India. I don't know what are the facts around it. So I don't want to make any comment on that. But the water in the river is not there. It has been diverted so that people can come and occupy these places. So there is one side of the river in Galwan Valley is India, other side is China, and they are sitting in front of each other. Now the whole point is, if China is trying to have a fight with India, then why they are doing it openly in today's world, where you can watch every move your opponent makes via satellite and also via aeroplane, reconnaissance sorties, and eyes on the ground. So you know exactly, everybody is watching you. There is enough intelligence built in with India and also with China. They can watch every move that we make and we can watch every move they make. So why keep things in open? Right? It's like this: if India wants to bomb them, here it is, it's a very juicy target, come and bomb us. So it's like that. So I think that is why I'm saying, I'm going back to my previous point, that whatever China is doing is part of a big propaganda machine. They are just saying that, hey, here we are, showing their muscle, and they are not showing muscle to India alone, they are showing to the world that here we are, do what you want, we are going to do this. But India is stopping them. So this is what I wanted to bring to you, that whatever happens between India and China, it's all fronts are open. It's not only military fronts, there are fronts which are related to propaganda. There is a machinery which is at work. The people who are on the left and ultra left side, they are building a narrative across all countries. So that kind of a lobbying is going on. Twitter wars are going on. There is a Twitterites are going berserk, talking about different things and all that. Nutshell, my thinking is that no country can afford a war, because the war, if the country has a war between countries like India and China, there will be no result out of it, because both countries are equally comparable, capable, and they cannot be won over, or you cannot just do come and kill everybody and acquire the land. It's not going to happen. So I don't think there is going to be any big war between India and China, but I think there is going to be a big propaganda war which will continue for some more time. So friends, this is my analysis of the situation. I look forward to your comments, and also if you like this video and what I have told you with facts, do write to me. I will respond to you as quickly as possible. See you until next time. Bye bye.